Big pick energy week 16. It is here, James. We have 3 more weeks left of the regular season. I finally gained some ground on you this week, James. I closed the gap a little bit, back above 500. That's where I like to be. Still think I have an uphill battle to try to catch you. I don't think it's going to happen, but we are still going to give you our favorites, underdogs, overs, and unders the rest of the way, and we're going to stay green the rest of the season as well. Before we get into our picks, make sure if you have not already, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, get us here on Instagram and on TikTok. Of course, you're watching us on YouTube or listen to us on Apple and Spotify. James, we'll go to our favorites as we always do. You have the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football -1.5. I have the Broncos -3.5. Big game on Sunday against the Jaguars. But you tell me about the Seahawks -1.5 first.
To be honest, I was going to pick them as my underdog because that's what they started at as the week, but now they have flipped to the favorite. So it's a lot of money's going in on the Seahawks. So obviously, we saw this game already happen before in Los Angeles, where the Seahawks had 4 turnovers. That was probably Sam Darnold's worst game, and they still had a chance to win. Now, both of these teams right neck and neck. Whoever wins this game is going to have sole possession, basically, of the NFC and the NFC West. So this is going to be a fun game. This game's in Seattle. I know there's been more favorable trends on Mike McDonald on the road than versus at home, but I see this as a lovely revenge spot for some guy that we eat a lot of crow on, and that is Mr. Sam Darnold. He keeps proving us wrong, and maybe I am too late to this party because right now we're getting late to the season, Spence, and we saw what happened the last 2 weeks. But right now it's not the last 2 weeks. It's the last 3 weeks. So maybe we get one more good game and then we poo-poo out the rest. But in all honesty, JSN, the Seattle's defense has been great. You got the 12th man. I think also with this Rams team being a little banged up, Devontae Adams injury as well. Give me the Seahawks on a revenge spot, but still, I'll say this. If the Seahawks were to win and become sole possession of the NFC, I wouldn't bank them to win the NFC. So as much as I believe in them tonight, I don't believe in them for the future.
Yeah, I hear all your reasons, James, and I don't fully disagree with any of them. But the thing is, I feel like we've reached the next progression in Sam Darnold's development, right? I think we've acknowledged he's a good quarterback now. But now he's in the conversation with some other good quarterbacks that we constantly criticize. You are big criticism of Justin Herbert. And what is your criticism? What can he do in the big games? And so that's where we're at with Sam Darnold. We were asking this question last year. I'm going to ask it again. What's he going to give you in a big game like this? It doesn't get much bigger than this. It's a home game against the current 1 seed in the conference, a team that is in your division. You see them twice a year in this exact spot last year, James. Sam Darnold pooped his pants, did not show up. I don't know, James. I have a hard time buying into it until I see Sam Darnold truly win a massive game. I think I would take Matthew Stafford, the MVP. And yeah, he doesn't have Devontae Adams, but he has that other elite wide receiver, Puka Nacua, and I would say one of the most underrated running games in the entire NFL right now with Kyra Williams and Michigan national champion Blake Corum toting the rock. I like the Rams a lot in this game. They're not my underdog this week. I have a different one. I would love the Rams +1.5 in this matchup. For my favorite, I'm going with the Broncos -3.5. It's a massive game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. James, I'll be honest with you. For me, this is a 2-parter. The Broncos, Broncos side of things, I've been a believer all year, and I really like how good of football he's playing right now. And this defense is just nasty. And of course, in Mile High Stadium, this team is one of the best home field advantages in the entire league. On the other side, the Jaguars, 10-4. They are an absolute contender to come out of the AFC. There's no doubt about it. But there's just something about this team that I just feel like they could possibly not show up in this spot. It's a tough environment for Trevor Lawrence to go on the road to. I'm not taking away from anything that offense has done because Travis Etienne's playing at a high level. And ever since they acquired Jacoby Myers, this offense is playing next level. But I think with how good the Broncos have been and with everything that's on the line in this game, I think the Broncos are going to eke out a win. Yes, it being minus 3.5 does have a little bit of concern for me because I would honestly pick, if I could pick an exact score, I would probably pick Broncos 27, Jaguars 24. But I still think I want to pick the Broncos in this game because I do think they get it done.
Yeah, no, I like the pick. I think I will actually just go on the other side just because I'm kind of waiting for the Broncos to finally get that game. Finally, they lose a game. Kind of like the Patriots last week, even though we thought they probably should have won against the Bills up 21-0. I'm just waiting for them to kind of lose right now, get a little reset for the playoffs. I like what the Jaguars have been doing lately. I do agree with your pick why you would go against the Jaguars because, hey, a Jaguar loss is a win for the Texans because how hot they've been
Yeah,
lately.
there might
So
be
I
wishful thinking in there. I'm not going to lie to you. There definitely might be some wishful thinking. On top of that, I have a parlay with some of my fantasy league mates, and we definitely need the Jaguars to choke a game down the stretch.
Yeah, definitely need the Jaguars to choke. I will say this though, there's a lot of good trends on Bo Nix being at home, being a favorite. Of course, if you add a 6-point teaser, he's 17-0 in that. But I will say Trevor Lawrence though, impressive trend I see. 10-4 against the spread off a win by more than 10 points. So he just beat the Jets by a ton. So now he's in a good spot, 10-4. Let's see if that goes 11-4. If not, it's gonna go 10-5. Still a good team, but no, this will be a fun game. I know the Broncos, they had a real tough one the other day, but pulled it out against the Packers. It'll be a fun one, but I will probably go with the Jags just because I'm waiting for a letdown spot for the Broncos.
Let's go to our underdogs, James. You have the Panthers plus 3.5 against the Buccaneers. I have the Chargers plus 2.5 against the Cowboys at Dallas. But James, we'll start with yours. Tell me about the showdown in Carolina for the NFC South.
This is what everyone dreams about, man. Super Bowl champions and who is going to win the NFC South. That is what we all pray for. Who's coming out of this damn division? And well, guess what? We get 2 games in the next 3 weeks, Panthers versus Bucs, and this will come down to really these 2 games because we probably think the Bucs are going to beat the Dolphins and they're in between, and we might think the Panthers are going to lose to the Seahawks and they're in between. So this comes down to these 2 games, and I'll say this. Carolina as an underdog rocks my socks. All their wins straight up are as an underdog. Carolina is 6-0 against the spread after a loss. And I want to say this Bucs team, even though they got Mike Evans back and he looked great, and heck, I thought he was going to catch 200 plus yards to get that 1,000 yard mark. I know Baker's going to throw it to him. I want to say this team is deflated right now. I think they hit a wall, once being 5-1, now 7-7. I think they've hit the checkout spot. I know Mike Evans may say differently, but I think there's a little rift between Baker, Todd Bowles, and that team. This is a good spot for the Panthers. And come on, Panthers. Come on, Bryce Young. Come on, T-Mac. Come on, Rico. Let's win this NFC South. Go Panthers.
Man, the Buccaneers are a team I've been riding all year long. It's part of the reason why I've fallen so far behind you in the standings, if we're being honest. If there was ever a week the Buccaneers were going to turn around, it has to be this week. I think
has to be this week.
They lose this game, James. I know you mentioned it. They do have an easy game against the Dolphins, and then they have the second rematch against the Panthers in Week 18, and it very well could come down to Week 18 either way in this game. But I'll say this, if the Buccaneers lose this game, I think they fully phone it in. I know you're saying that you think you see them there now. I think this game they lose, I will 100% agree with you. They are phoning it in. They are sputtering on the rope, flapping on the ground like a dead fish. It's over. But I think Baker's got one more in him. I think Baker's got one more in him.
Come on,
Feed
Baker.
Bucky Irving, for the love of God. Feed Bucky Irving. My underdog this week, James, I am going with the Chargers. I'm honestly surprised that the 10-4 Chargers are 2.5-point underdogs to the Cowboys. I know it's in Dallas, and I know the Cowboys offense is unbelievable, but the Chargers defense is one of the most underrated units in the entire NFL. And yes, I know the Chargers offensive line is literally a bunch of Jags. That line is in shambles. Justin Herbert is fighting for his life, but despite getting sacked so many times in recent weeks, he's still been playing at a really, really high level, and they've been getting it done. It's been ugly, but here they are, 10-4. sitting pretty in the wild card standings, and I don't see them losing this game to a Cowboys team that I also think is very similar to the Bucs, that they're just sputtering. I don't know. They don't really have any chance at the playoffs, right?
They have a 1% chance, even though they haven't beat any of the common opponents the Eagles have. And if the Eagles were to implode, they would have a shot. But let's just say they're
I don't see the Commanders sweeping the Eagles. I just don't see it. So the Cowboys, they're done. I don't see the Chargers losing this game. It's a trap game, classic trap game, but can you really consider it a trap game if your team is the underdog? I don't think so. So I think the Chargers get it done plus 2.5.
Yeah, so I will say this. If I was a betting man and I went with my trends, I would bet the Cowboys. But I'm a freaking Eagles fan. So go
You're
Chargers.
James West.
Go Justin
You do not
Herbert.
bet the Chargers. You do not bet the Cowboys.
No, we don't bet the Cowboys. We bet them to lose every single week. And guess what? Even though Dak Prescott is 13-2 straight up in this spot of games when he plays consecutive home games and all that bull crap, Chargers 3-0 as an underdog this year, 2 versus the Chiefs, 1 versus the Eagles. Even though Herbert's record is 17-12-1 against the spread as an underdog, 13-6 on the road and on a neutral site. Come on, Chargers. I need to see some Lad McConkey. That's who I want to see. I want to see that cracker terrorize people in what the hell? What city they play in? Arlington. So yeah, man, give me the Chargers just because definitely some hate bias.
I appreciate that. I will say though, before we move off of this, I know you would hate Justin Herbert even more if the only NFC East team he beats in 2025 were to be the Philadelphia Eagles. He lost to the Giants. He lost to the Commanders. This is the last chance. If he loses to the Cowboys, that means he went 1-3 against the NFC East, and he only beat your Eagles, lost to all your rivals. That would make him the epitome of a quarterback that you hate.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to our overs. James, you have the over in the Patriots and Ravens over 48.5. I have the over in the Packers versus the Bears 46.5. James, both of these are huge games in the playoff pictures on both conferences. So let's start with the AFC. Tell me about Ravens and Patriots over 48.5.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. This year it seems like you wouldn't know Lamar Jackson was playing on the Ravens because he just hasn't been as spectacular stats wise as he usually has been. But this game I feel like is a big one. We like to dunk on the Ravens defense a lot. I do feel like this young team of the New England Patriots will be fiery because Mike Vrabel is 6-0 against the spread after a loss. That'll be a good spot for him. Definitely. Lamar Jackson, though, is crazy. Week 15 to week 18, Lamar is 16-0 straight up. So if we're getting some of these good trends, we got to see points, bro. I got to see all the points of that one. I need to see some Derrick Henry. Matter of fact, screw Derrick Henry. Bring on maybe the comeback of the year, the underdog of the year for offensive rookie of the year. Travion Henderson, give me some 60-yard runs, man, because the Ravens will definitely give you that. I think that's fair. But other than that, I will say, yeah, the defense, though, for the Ravens is pretty, like I said, this is all lackluster. 30th in EPA on the defensive side, 29% in success rate on the defensive side. So this is a horrible defense. I see Drake May killing it as his MVP season. I know he's not the leader, but it definitely will help his track.
I agree with the over pick, James, but I do just want to ask you one thing about this game. I know you're picking the over. Who you got in this game?
Who do I got? Kid you not. I'm going with the Ravens.
Me too. I like that they're in Baltimore on a Sunday night. I just feel like historically, Sunday night football in Baltimore, road teams aren't winning that game. That is a tough spot. And I feel like, it's a make or break situation. Lamar Jackson, I still like to believe, is one of the most elite quarterbacks in the entire NFL, despite how bad he's been playing in the last month or so. I think he turns out a dub, and I think they get it done and they stay alive in the AFC. And we know the Patriots, before they blew it last week to the Bills, before that, yeah, they were 11-2, but they hadn't played that many teams. And a feisty, hungry Ravens team, I could see them definitely slipping up again and falling to the Ravens on Sunday night. I'm going, though, for my over Packers and Bears. Same kind of thing as yours, James. Since it's a big matchup, it's a huge game for the playoff seeding and for the playoff picture. The Packers and the Bears, I think this is just going to be a shootout. It's basically a pick'em game. The last I checked, the spread is Packers minus 1 point. So
There you
these
go.
types of games where it's two teams that are desperate, Vegas can't decide which team's truly going to be the favored team. This seems like a game that's going to go back and forth. It's going to be a dogfight, back and forth game. Yes, both these teams are teams that like to pound the rock with their run game. Josh Jacobs with the Packers, and of course the Swift Monungai duo with the Bears. But I think they're going to air it out a bit. I think both quarterbacks going to air it out a little bit. Both quarterbacks heavily criticized with a lot to prove. But let me get some points. 46.5, I feel like for this game, I think we can get that. So give me the over.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing this game, I would be a little scared, but just because of the weather and the wind and all that. But these two teams do this
Yeah.
every year. They play in these conditions. I see this being a 3-point game. I see it being easily 27-24, just because I'm with you. And plus, the Bears need to get this dub because remember, they were the 1 seed for like a blink of a second, and then they lost and they were the 7th seed. So even though I think the Bears are okay in the playoff hunt, you mentioned it. This game's a seeding game for them because you could basically go from 7 to possibly 3 with a win just because this NFC conference has been so competitive. The Bears need to let everything out. They need, as 6ix9ine would say, let your nuts drag, bring the ball down in the Soldier Field. Come on, Caleb Williams. Do what you got to do. Throw that ball to DJ Moore. Throw that ball to your 2 tight ends, and definitely let's get some swift touchdowns, man.
All right, let's bring it home. Let's talk about our unders. James, you are going with our staple under on Big Pick Energy in 2025, and that is the under in the Texans game. Vegas Raiders and Houston Texans under 38.5. I am taking the under in the Bengals versus Dolphins, a game that has no playoff implications, but we're going to talk about it for a little bit here in a sec. I'm taking under 47.5. James, let's talk about your game to start. It's a staple of ours, but why you like the under in this game this week?
Oh my gosh, you mentioned it. It's a staple, and this is all written on 2 things. 1, the Raiders offense, and 2, the Texans defense. Why I say that? Last week, hey, I was like, Eagles, Raiders, they'll score 42 points. Well, damn, the Eagles scored 31 by themselves, and the Raiders didn't do jack. And if I'm playing numbers and mano y mano, I think the Texans defense is a little bit better than the Eagles defense. And if I saw a shutout from the Eagles defense, I'm going to see a shutout probably in the Texans. But in all honesty, I'll say this. Due to it being an indoor game, I think the Raiders will play a little bit better than 30 degrees out there in Philly, snow, a little snow here and there. I think the Raiders will score 7 points. That's all we asked for. It's just 7 last week. So we'll just ask for it again. Raiders just get the 7 points. Texans, though, been very impressive. They do scare me, though, a little bit on the offensive side. Dropping 40 burger on the freaking goddamn
Scored on
Cardinals the
all
other
but
week.
one of their possessions.
Yeah. This team is on fire. A lot of people, like we talk about all the time. I know you're a little homer about it, but hey, this is the hottest team in the NFL right now that nobody's talking about because they don't have the flashy quarterback play. I know CJ Stroud's still dominant. They don't have a big diva in receiver, and they don't have a head coach that nobody really gives a crap about, except me, because we're all time, big dog. But in all honesty, no, this game should be 31-7. Book it. Give me the half point. If I couldn't get the over last week, give me 31-7 Texans in the half point.
Yeah, I love this pick because I'll bet the under for the Texans every single week and sleep happily about it. But the Texans offense has been turning it around in recent weeks. That does give me cause for concern. But the over just hit in their game last week. That almost guarantees that the under's hitting in this game. So I like it. James, I'm taking the under in a game that if you had asked me before the season, I would have smashed the over in this game if I had made this bet back in August. But I'm going to take the under in the Bengals versus Dolphins game, under 47.5. The Dolphins side of things, they just benched Tua. The season's over. They're eliminated from the playoffs. Yes, I know Devon Achane is one of the most elite running backs in the NFL, but I have no faith in an offense that is being run by Quinn Ewers in the NFL in year 2025, his rookie 7th-round pick season. Sorry, UT fans that still are delusional enough to think that this is actually going to go somewhere. Quinn Ewers is not an NFL quarterback, and I don't see this offense doing much anything. On the other side, this Bengals team, I do not understand this team. They should be so much better than they are. On paper, they have this really stout offense, good weapons. The offensive line is problematic at times, but they've also invested a lot in it. It should be playing better. The defense, yes, they have some names, but it's atrocious. This team just is so disappointing. And we make all these excuses for Joe Burrow every single year. I know a lot of people say this of Justin Herbert, that he's Mr. What If, he's Mr. Excuses. I see way more excuses made for Joe Burrow, and he gets way more credit for simply just being the only guy to beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs before Jalen Hurts did it. That was his calling card. He was the guy that beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. He went to a Super Bowl in 2021, and since then, he's done basically nothing. He got back to the AFC Championship that next year, and now we're about to have 3 seasons in a row with no Bengals in the postseason. And yes, I know he was hurt for part of that, but it just blows my mind that we are still putting him in the elite of the elite when this is something that he's done. I can't think of another quarterback that could miss the playoffs 3 years in a row. Like, say what you will about Justin Herbert. He at least was making it to the playoffs. He might not be doing anything there. He's making the dance. Joe Burrow, again, I know health's a problem, but is not making the playoffs, and it's a problem. So I'm fading the Bengals. I'm fading the Dolphins. Give me the under 47.5.
Yeah, no, I like this under as well. I don't believe in Quinn Ewers as well. These teams have played 8 times since 2010. The under has gone 7-1, and the under is hit by more than 5 points. So we're in a good trend there. I see this being a run-heavy offense. They're not putting Quinn Ewers in that spot. Even though the Bengals defense may not be as spectacular, they're still not going to do that to him. And I'm with you. I think the Bengals are obviously, they're checked out. I know Jamar Chase may say something. I know T. Higgins may say something. All these other guys, Shamar Stewart, all these guys, they all got something to say. But at the end of the day, if your quarterback's checked out because of whatever personal issues, the organization and the owners may not be the best. But they did what you asked for. They paid you, Jamar, T, and then, yeah, even though it's on a 1-year franchise deal, whatever, they got Trey Hendrickson. They paid all the guys you asked for. So what I see is you need to shut up and buckle up and get your blonde Home Alone hair ass out there and throw that ball like you're supposed to. Because in all honesty, Spence, and we can go a big, deeper pool in this. You mentioned the one season that he went to the Super Bowl and he gets all the excuses then. I swear, I think he's only had 2 good seasons since we've seen him at LSU. Before the national championship year, he was garbage until now. He's only had 2 seasons really good in a span of, we're talking 6-7 years. And we mentioned it. I put him in the elite category because he's beaten teams. Tua has a better record than you, and he's benched.
Wow. Is that true?
In the last 3 seasons, he has a better record than Joe Burrow, and he's been benched. Joe Burrow ain't been benched. That's why I said Joe Flacco. No, Joe. But in all honesty, Joe Burrow, hey, man, I get it. We got to treat football players like humans as well because y'all are humans. But when you get paid that much money, you will not get past my stand on, I'm not having fun. Yeah. You ain't having fun, mother. You sucking. Your team sucks. You need to figure it out, man, because they paid you.
Yeah, before the season, I used to think anytime you're making a top however many quarterbacks list, top 5, top 10, top whatever, you start with 4 names. You start with Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. You had to start with those 4.
Burrow.
You ain't starting with those 4 anymore. You just aren't.
No.
Joe Burrow cannot be an automatic top 4 anymore. He is definitely someone that's debatable, and honestly, it might be recency bias. I might just have like stench in my nostrils from him. I don't think I'd put Joe Burrow in my top 10 right now if I was making a list, but we can talk about that in another video. That is what we've got for week 16. Make sure, again, you are subscribed to us here on YouTube. Make sure you get us on our other accounts, and we will see y'all next week for week 17. And until then, y'all take it easy.
Boom.